The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in live here on a Monday, the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. We are just days away from Christmas. I want to give a shout out, of course, to Shay and Mark Neal for filling in for me this past Thursday and Friday with the holidays coming up. And it's a lot of use it or lose it PTO. It's that time of year, of course. And I don't think I've ever used every hour of my PTO ever before. So, but thanks to them, I was able to take a couple days off. So we're doing the show today, obviously off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but there's still a ton of stuff to get into. Ohio State will take on Miami in the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs on New Year's Eve. The winner will advance to the semifinals, where there's a good chance they could run into Georgia. But how do you like their chances against Miami? We'll get to that coming up around the corner. I'm a poet and didn't know it. I wrote poems, Twas the Night Before Christmas edition, for all of our teams. The Cincinnati Reds, the cheating Michigan Wolverines, your Dayton Flyers, and yes, your precious golden boy, Joe Burrow, and the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think anyone went unscathed. Let's just put it that way. As we wrap up the 2025 year, as we head into Christmas, we'll be wrapping up the new year or this year. Heading into the New Year's, focus more on that next week. But, I thought I would try a few things and write a few poems. So that's what I have for you guys coming up here in just a little bit. 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. But yeah. All right. As we sit here right now, again, the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. We'll open it up with this. Again, we've spent a lot of time on your Cincinnati Bengals. The bottom line is, just like my Cleveland Browns, they have been eliminated from playoff contention with weeks to go, with a month to go in the season. The Bengals responded, after an embarrassing, horrific loss against the Ravens the week before, which basically put them out of their misery. They rebounded with a 45-21 blowout win against the Miami Dolphins on the road yesterday afternoon. Joe Burrow looked like Joe Burrow again, completing 25 of his 32 pass attempts. He threw for 309 yards. He threw for 4 touchdowns, got sacked twice, but he did not turn the ball over, which is huge because the last 2 games, Joe Burrow had turned the ball over multiple times. No turnovers yesterday. Best game of the season. Even when the Bengals started out 2-0, Joe Burrow he did not look good in those games. He didn't look good in the early going. He was moving the ball better in week 2 against the Jaguars than we had originally saw him do against Cleveland in week 1, but still didn't look like himself. Hasn't looked like himself since coming back, but that was the best game we've seen from Joe Burrow since then. The Bengals ran the football as a team collectively, ran for over 100 yards. Chase Brown, 12 carries, 66 yards on the ground and a touchdown. But Chase Brown did a lot of other things as well. He had over 100 yards total yardage on the afternoon, 66 yards on 12 carries on the ground with the touchdown. He also had 4 catches for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. 100-plus total yard performance to go along with the 3-touchdown afternoon. A massive game for Chase Brown. Great game for Joe Burrow. T. Higgins was great yesterday as well. 3 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown. No touchdown for Jamar Chase, but he maximized his 9 touches for 109 yards on about 12.1 yards per catch. So the Bengals come out on top. They improved to 5-10 on the season. Again, the playoffs they can't make the playoffs. Okay. Right now, it's just about positioning themselves to build enough momentum to feel confident heading into the offseason that, okay, you strip away the injuries and you started to see some of these young defensive guys start to settle in a little bit. You start to feel confident about the direction that they are going in. But the bottom line is the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-10, eliminated from playoff contention. They joined the likes of the Miami Dolphins, who they beat yesterday, the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the Las Vegas Raiders, my Cleveland Browns, and yes, the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are all the teams that have been eliminated out of the playoffs in the AFC. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams have been eliminated from playoff contention in the AFC as we currently sit here right now. To see that Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes have been eliminated from the playoff with weeks to go in the season is kind of crazy. The Chiefs did not have the season that they were anticipating. This is a team that had gone to the Super Bowl for 3 straight years. and to go to the Super Bowl for 3 straight years and be to the AFC Championship game in every year of Patrick Mahomes' existence in the NFL, is kind of wild to go from that to just totally falling out of the playoff mix altogether. But even if they did to make the playoffs, they'd be without Patrick Mahomes, who had a horrific injury last week. And it's all about preparing for what's coming next season. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this either, but the Chiefs did make an announcement earlier today that they will be leaving Kansas City and I guess just going over to Kansas. I guess the Kansas Chiefs, is that what's going on? I thought I saw that a little bit ago. I thought that was an interesting move for Kansas City. So we'll talk about that more coming up later on. But so with that being said, yesterday, the Bengals, they take care of business against the Dolphins. And I guess the question that I have is, first of all, you should always want your team to win. It doesn't matter. I saw some people kind of twist it and say, well, winning doesn't really do anything for the Bengals right now. They need as good of a draft pick as possible. They picked 17th in the draft last year. And with that 5th win yesterday, I mean, they're going to be picking outside of the top 10. It's like, you missed the playoffs, you finish under 500, you've been horrifically bad all season. You at least would like something to show for it. And that may not be the case now because the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 5 wins on the season. They are sitting, if the draft was today, they'd have the 9th overall pick. Now, the Giants, Raiders, Cardinals, Browns, Titans, that would be the draft order as of right now. Okay. And then you have the Jets at number 6, the Commanders at 7, the Saints at 8, the Bengals at 9, and the Falcons at 10. And the Falcons are 6-9 on the season. I think it would be tough for the Bengals to really drop too much further out. I don't know if they're going to get a top 10 pick. I mean, you look at the teams that the Bengals have coming up. The Cardinals and the Browns, those are potential 2 wins right there. I can honestly see, I do think that you're going to see Joe Burrow and all the starters against the Cardinals. I really could see, because of the fact that the Browns have feasted on the Bengals O-line historically in the Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow era. I think because the Browns have actually done a very, very good job. They've been one of the most consistent defenses in neutralizing the Cincinnati Bengals offense consistently. I honestly see a scenario where the Bengals split the next 2 games. I think they beat the Cardinals and could potentially lose to Cleveland, because I don't think we're going to see much of Joe Burrow against Cleveland in that last game of the regular season. Why would you? I would bench him. I wouldn't play him in that final week. I think it would be kind of an interesting storyline. Joe Flacco started the year with Cleveland against the Cincinnati Bengals, and then Joe Flacco would start the final game of the regular season with the Bengals against the Cleveland Browns. I think that would be an interesting bookend type of situation there. But yeah, I see Cincinnati splitting these final 2 games, not doing the whole, my Browns are better than your Bengals thing right now. I'm just saying I think that Cleveland has a lot of guys that are going to be balling out in that final week, going all out in that final week to take momentum into the offseason. I think that the Bengals look at, if we can get out of the final week of the regular season in 2 weeks and Joe Burrow is upright and healthy, and we could just put this season behind us and make sure we have a healthy Joe Burrow heading into the offseason, considering everything that we went through this year. Yeah, I see that kind of playing out a little bit, to be quite honest with you. So it'll be interesting to see how all that unravels nonetheless. Okay. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. But like I said, the Bengals balled out yesterday. I mean, the Bengals have lost the last 2 weeks. They lost 39-34 against the Bills in Buffalo. They followed it up with a 24-0 shutout loss. It was the first shutout in the Joe Burrow era. Joe Burrow had never been held scoreless in his entire career in Cincinnati. The offense has never disappeared like that. Even when they were seeing Jake Browning be the quarterback. I mean, the offense wasn't there, but they lost 28-3, 37-24, 27-18, 48-10. Even on bad days, they still put up points. They couldn't put up points against the Ravens, and that's when we started to feel like, okay, the wheels were falling off a bit. Joe Burrow said it best last week that there wasn't a team in the NFL that was going to win a game with the way that he performed against Baltimore. And I thought that was a truthful statement. That's how bad Joe Burrow was. But nice to see him bounce back. Nice to see the Bengals bounce back. 45-21 the final. 2 games left. Cardinals, Browns. If the season ended today, the Bengals would be picking 9th in the NFL draft. It's crazy. I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Here we are. You are Bengals fans. I'm a Browns fan. And yet it's all about the draft for our teams again. Even though you have a fantastic quarterback, right? You have a franchise quarterback. The more things change, you have that. They stay the same. We're still talking draft. 3 straight years, no playoffs for the Bengals, and we're talking about positioning themselves for a better draft pick. I see them getting a win against the Cardinals next week, and then I see them losing against Cleveland, mainly because I don't think that they're going to play any of their main guys against Cleveland in that final week. I wouldn't. You're out of playoff contention. There's really no awards that you're playing for at this point. It's not like last year when Jamar was chasing that Triple Crown where you wanted to make sure you positioned him to get that. T. Higgins, has had some scares as of late when it comes to concussion protocol. I wouldn't play him against Cleveland. I wouldn't play Jamar. I want those 3. Because let's just assume that this upcoming offseason is a pivotal turnaround moment for your Cincinnati Bengals. Let's just assume the only way that you could truly pivot and feel like you're trending in the right direction is to head into the offseason with those 3 healthy, keep them happy, have a great draft, attack free agency with aggressiveness, fix the deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball, and allow Bengals fans to feel like something different happened. Because all of you got on me last year when I said, I don't know. I've never seen a team work so hard to keep a non-playoff roster intact. And you guys said I was crazy. But I'm not crazy. Last year, the team was not good. And they did everything in their power to keep pretty much everything the same. They made a change at defensive coordinator, but they didn't make any changes defensively. I mean, you drafted a lot of defensive guys, but they were very underwhelming draft picks, just like the last 3 years when it comes to the Bengals in the draft. So no changes on defense. All right. The money that was spent was on guys that were already on the roster last year, and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki. You did add Noah Fant. I thought that was a good addition. I don't think it was an impact addition, obviously. But I've never seen an offseason where a team worked so hard to keep the exact same non-playoff team roster from the last 2 years intact. It didn't make any sense. They paid for it. I can't imagine that they would do the same thing for the 3rd straight offseason, where they just sit there and hope that the rookies come in out of the draft and make an impact, and then just go the Cincinnati Reds route, let all the talent be sifted through at the beginning and kind of take the scraps on some potential cheap deals and try to take advantage of the market that way. At 5-10, the Bengals have to find a way to be different this upcoming offseason, no doubt. Troy on Facebook, what up, Troy? Happy holidays. Let me see. I hate the style of the way that this text comes through. There we go. Troy says Burrow will play if he wants to. He runs the franchise. I mean, he'll play if he wants to, but I do believe if you're the Bengals, you got to protect him from him. I think he should play against the Cardinals coming up. I think Joe Burrow talked too big of a game to talk about why would I not play in these meaningful games down the stretch. I think he should play against the Cardinals. For one, it's a beatable team. I don't even know what the line is on that, to be honest. Let me go pull next week's lines up. I don't even know if they have that line. They are. Cincinnati's at home. It's the home finale, right? Like you're at home. To me, no, you're at home the last 2 weeks. I'm sorry. Well, that changes things too, being at home. But I could see them playing everybody this Saturday or this Sunday, and then benching everyone, the main guys coming up against the Browns in the final week. Javi on Facebook says Joe Burrow is going to retire if they have another bad season. Listen, I thought maybe they were really getting to Joe Burrow, but I think that I put this. I shared a video earlier. I was at the store earlier today, and all right, I'm at TJ Maxx. Okay, shout out to TJ Maxx. All right, but the line's not moving, and TJ Maxx does a very good job at bringing you through the little maze on the way out, and there's all these toys and everything, on the little outside shelves, and this kid is not getting what he wants, and he starts crying and he's throwing a fit, and the mom's telling him no. She's being very assertive with them. No, you're not going to get this toy. I heard Christmas is coming up. You're going to get a ton of toys from Santa coming up. You don't need this toy right now. You're going to get plenty this week, from Santa and the family, this, that, and the other. The kid is screaming. Now, I'm annoyed that this kid's screaming. I don't have kids, so I'm not mentally cut out for this. It's just like, dude, will somebody buy the kid a Happy Meal? Like, my goodness, shut him up. Well, the mom caved, and the kid went from saying how much he hated it here, how much he hated his mom, how much, how angry he was. And then he got this stupid little remote control car that was like $8 that I just wanted to smash. And he was all happy. He loved the store all of a sudden. His mom was the best now. and this kid was happy. That was Joe Burrow. I was witnessing Joe Burrow in line at TJ Maxx earlier today. Joe Burrow was boo-hooing and crying because he didn't get what he wanted the last couple of weeks, even though he's gotten everything he's won. He wanted $55 million a year, highest paid quarterback in the history of the league. He got that. He wanted the Bengals, who are notoriously cheap franchise. He somehow conned them, and he cried and he held his breath and he threw a temper tantrum. He conned them into spending $70 million a year on 2 number 1 wide receivers that he desperately needed. Even though Josh Allen doesn't have elite wide receivers, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have elite wide receivers. Justin Herbert doesn't have elite wide receivers, but Joe Burrow needs not one, but 2 elite wide receivers. Everything he wanted Mike Gesicki, he got Mike Gesicki. He wanted Trey Hendrickson taken care of. They got Trey Hendrickson. Everything that this cat wanted, he got. And yet, last week, oh man, I don't even know if I should play football anymore, because what's the point if I'm not having fun? I could think of 55 million reasons, my guy, why you should be enjoying playing football, a children's game. I don't feel bad. He has stuff going on off the field and on the field. I have stuff going on in my life outside of work, at work, but we're all professionals. We're all adults. We show up and we do our job. I couldn't sympathize with him at that moment. All right. I couldn't. So to hear where he was mentally last week, talking about all the things going wrong in life and this, that, and the other, and that he just wasn't happy right now. Okay, cool. There's a lot happening and the losing's not helping. But you mean to tell me that kicking the ass of a bad Dolphins team, all of a sudden, everything's fine in life? Yesterday, oh man, I'm having fun. I'm having fun playing football. Oh, are you? Because that wasn't what you were saying the last couple of weeks when you were throwing a temper tantrum. Because, by the way, beating the Dolphins has accomplished nothing. If anything, it moved your draft order back. You're out of the playoffs for the 3rd straight year, for the 4th time in your 6-year career. And I highly doubt that a win over the Dolphins eliminated off your off-the-field problems, eliminated all the issues and deficiencies within the front office. A win over the Dolphins didn't all of a sudden smoke out and erase all the deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. So, Joe Burrow, please, I know this is hard, but how are you he's a phony. I've been telling you guys this for so long. He's a phony. He doesn't like Halloween. He thinks dressing up is stupid, but yet every year he does a photo shoot dressed up for Halloween and goes to these big elaborate Halloween parties. Remember that? Not a big deal, but it kind of fits with the narrative that I've been throwing out there that I think he's a phony. He just says things to try to, there's some deeper meaning to Joe Burrow. There's no deeper meaning. He's a guy that's missed the playoffs 4 times in 6 years. Doesn't get any deeper than that. It's as simple as that. But I was so ticked off yesterday just seeing how happy he was. And I'm not mad that he's happy, but I'm mad at just the complete flip-flop from last week to the next. You can't tell me that a win over the Dolphins solved all the world's problems. All right, a win over the Dolphins doesn't wake Mike Brown up in the middle of a football game. A win over the Dolphins doesn't all of a sudden, give a brain to Duke Tobin and he knows what he's doing all of a sudden. A win over the Dolphins doesn't automatically fix this horrific defense. You know what I mean? Like, what did yesterday's win technically fix that now all of a sudden he's like the child that I just saw throw a temper tantrum at TJ Maxx earlier this afternoon. I spent my lunch break, 40 minutes at TJ Maxx, 22 minutes of that standing in line, watching this kid throw a temper tantrum until his mom caved, gave him what he wanted, and then all of a sudden, he was so happy. He got everything he wanted because he threw a tantrum. Joe Burrow's just throwing another tantrum, and he's conditioning the front office to, hey, when I cry and scream, you give me what I want. He has them wrapped around his finger. He has you guys wrapped around his finger. I think he's a phony. Simple as that. And he's not in the playoffs, and that makes me happy as far as that goes. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Rob Panel on YouTube says, win or lose, Burrow sounds unhappy, and he's pouting, kind of. It is showing. It wasn't showing yesterday. Yesterday, I'm with you, Rob. The pouting is definitely visible. I didn't see that yesterday. I mean, he was making jokes. He was flipping his little skater boy hair. He was doing it all. He was back to normal yesterday. So going back, I just want to, Jeff, what up, Jeff? Jeff Hang on Facebook says, what happens to Flacco after this year? I don't know if Flacco's going to retire or not. I think the guy can still play. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, but if you were a team out there that needs a bridge quarterback or whatever, I mean, I could see him going to Miami, because of the situation over there. They threw out Quinn Ewers yesterday. At times, Bengals fans, be honest, at times, did you kind of like what you saw from Quinn? For you Buckeye fans that were, and I know he wasn't a Buckeye. I mean, he was for a second, but he was a Texas Longhorn quarterback. But he originally committed to Ohio State. So you guys are very familiar with Quinn. I thought Quinn at times looked good yesterday, and then it just kind of unraveled. So who knows? That's a team I could see that would need Joe Flacco's services. With everything that's going on with Tua, it sounds like they are going to cut ties with Tua at the end of this year. So who knows what's going to happen either way. So nonetheless, 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I'm a poet and didn't know it. All right. I wrote a poem about each and every one of our favorite teams. I have one about the Dayton Flyers, the Gem City Jam. I have one about your golden boy, Joe Burrow, and the Cincinnati Bengals, the cheap Cincinnati Reds, and yes, even the crying Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We get all of that coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Twas the night before Christmas, your team edition when we come back. The Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Bengals get a big win yesterday. The Cleveland Browns, well, they had a competitive outing with Buffalo. So there's that. 23-20 the final. Cleveland loses at home. 3-12 in the season. As far as the draft order is concerned, as we currently be in position for a top 5 pick. I did not think Cleveland was going to be very good this year. I just didn't think that they were going to be this bad. But when you have no wide receivers, all right, when your offensive line has gotten significantly older and taken a step back, they can run the football. But how about that horrific injury to Quinshon Judkins? I mean, that's unfortunate because they were fortunate to move on from Nick Chubb. I think they moved on from Nick Chubb at the right time. And then I think they got rewarded with a hell of a running back. I think they drafted 2 really good running backs in Sampson and Judkins from this one draft. But Quinshon, obviously, that injury, I don't think I haven't come across a full, result, yet as far as, what the expectation is for surgery and how long he'll be out. But I would assume the Browns are going to be without him to start next season. So that's already behind the 8 ball there. They have no wide receivers. The run game takes a hit. They have a lot of holes in that offensive line. You think you have something with Shedeur? I think they have something with Shedeur. I do think that they need more. They have 2 games left. I don't think there's nothing that Shedeur could do in the next 2 weeks to make you feel like he's for sure the guy. But I also don't think that there's anything he could do in the next 2 weeks to guarantee you that he's also not the guy. Like, we knew watching Dillon Gabriel, it took a few games, and you're like, this guy ain't it. And that's not one of those where you got to give him time to develop. There has been more flash and more flair, which was the identity of Shedeur Sanders coming out of the draft. But he makes NFL throws. There are things he needs to fix up, but I don't think that there's a quarterback out there that could play with this mess. Like we saw it with Joe Flacco, guys. Like, you Bengals fans know better than anybody. I don't need you to defend the Browns by any means, but let's be real here. You guys saw Joe Flacco look like an aged, washed up, should have retired last year quarterback in the first couple weeks of the season in Cleveland. The guy was just a walking turnover. He was throwing for under 200 yards a game. He wasn't throwing any touchdowns. He looked washed up. And then he goes to Cincinnati. And let's be clear, Cincinnati's not that much better. That offensive line isn't great. They're not a great running team. Chase Brown has some big games. He likes to pick on the bad running defenses. He did it yesterday. All right. He had 3 total touchdowns on the day. I also watched my bad team's running back put up 3 total touchdowns against this same Dolphins defense earlier in the year in Cleveland. So it's one of those where Joe Flacco, even with some deficiencies in Cincinnati, looked like a great starting quarterback in today's NFL. So if Joe Flacco, who within a snap of a finger looked great all of a sudden in Cincinnati, he couldn't do anything. That is the most experienced quarterback that bounces around from team to team. He's the most skilled, most experienced, most talented veteran quarterback in the NFL right now in regards to the journeyman title. And he couldn't get it to work in Cleveland. But a guy in Dillon Gabriel with no talent was supposed to shine? No. And then Shedeur with talent, he's supposed to look flawless out there. That's why I don't hold all the turnovers against him. Talk about he needs to get rid of it quicker. I mean, now we're nitpicking. We're just ignoring the deficiencies of everything else that have put him in that position. Like, he's not even able to truly quarterback right now because of how bad everything else is. So Cleveland did a horrific job putting these dudes in position to succeed. They didn't do Joe Flacco any favors. They definitely didn't do a team any favors that was going to have 2 rookie quarterbacks on the roster. So I'm not making an excuse. I'm calling out how bad my team's front office was as far as putting them in that position. I think Stefanski did a horrible job of putting these guys in position out there to succeed. Now, to be fair, it was kind of the general manager that put the Browns in that position to force the rookies out there because Kevin Stefanski didn't want to get rid of Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski wanted Joe Flacco to be the quarterback. Remember, it was Andrew Berry who traded Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski had no word. He had no idea that was happening. He let it be known that week he had no clue. So why did you start Dillon Gabriel? Well, we kind of had no choice. Kenny Pickett, no longer here. Our GM traded away our 40-year-old veteran quarterback that could still play at a high level without any of my knowledge. So why am I starting Dillon Gabriel? Who the hell else am I going to? I have to start one of these 2 guys. So I think Cleveland, it'd be a mistake to move on from Shedeur and draft. I don't think Mendoza Like Mendoza is the best quarterback available in the draft, but sometimes it doesn't mean that you take that quarterback. It doesn't mean that you take a quarterback. I think you have to get a wide receiver. Carnell Tate has to be the Browns' number one. Carnell Tate has to be the Browns' first pick. They have 2 first-rounders next year. They have to get a left guard. They have to get a wide receiver. And I think Carnell Tate has to be the guy that they draft next year with that first-round pick. With that top 5 pick, it has to be a wide receiver, as crazy as that sounds. I'm not a fan of taking a wide receiver with the top 5 pick. I wasn't a fan of the Bengals doing it with Jamar Chase. That seemed to work out pretty well. But Carnell Tate is the best of all the needs that they have. He is the best player at one of their most important needs. And I think that they have to go that route. And then they have to use their second first-round pick on an offensive lineman. I don't think you go quarterback next year. I think you have to let Shedeur have a full offseason, get all the first-team reps, and let him fail next year. I looked at the roster. I looked at what they have coming up next year. It's a tough go of it. It's a tough go of it. Even with playing the last place schedule, when you don't, I'm not super confident in the quarterback. I'm not super confident in the run game now. I'm not super confident in what they have at wide receiver. So as of right now, the best thing you have to go off of is Deshaun's your backup quarterback. Shedeur's your starting quarterback. That's your quarterback room. Go fill up all the other puzzle pieces with the draft and free agency and see what you could do from there. But Kevin Stefanski, he gone. He has to be gone. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Doug Toby says, poor Tate. Oh, okay. I mean, yes. The Browns are not good at drafting wide receivers. The Bengals have always been very good. They've been fortunate. Every decade, they have that wide receiver. Had Ocho Cinco into A.J. Green, right into Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Bengals have been very fortunate to, they didn't draft T.O., and T.O. wasn't elite, but T.O., it's wild. You go look at that season that T.O. was in Cincinnati, put up numbers. Like that's like you didn't get a washed up T.O. You didn't get the Niners T.O. or the prime Eagles T.O., but it was crazy that you got a very valuable run from T.O. along with Ocho Cinco for that stretch. So that was pretty cool. But maybe poor Tate, or Tate's finally a good wide receiver. Or Tate goes to Cleveland and finally they get a good receiver in the draft and go from there. Who knows? But it doesn't matter how good Tate is. If they don't have anyone worth a damn to throw in the football, who cares? Who cares? So, nonetheless. Okay. I tell you what, I'm in the Christmas spirit. I've been in the Christmas spirit for quite some time now. So I'm excited about this. I've worked very hard to be able I've worked very hard on these poems that I have coming up for you guys, okay? That's what I'm excited about to share with all of you, and that's what we're going to have coming up here just around the corner. Again, it's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. So we have all that coming up for you here around the corner, 937-518-1410. I know I teased it for this segment, but we're moving it to one more segment. We're going to close out the hour with it. I wrote "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" edition poems for all of our sports teams. We're going to hit it right away with Michigan. We're going to make fun of that team up north right away when we come back. I wrote one about the Gem City Jam and your Dayton Flyers. And yes, even the big phony himself, Joe Burrow, and your Cincinnati Bengals. We'll get to all of that coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." I promise that is the first thing we're going to hit on when we come back. We'll be right back.
ZipRecruiter, try it free.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Coming up later on tonight, Wright State basketball. We are Dayton's radio home for Wright State basketball, of course, and they're going to be welcoming in Eastern Michigan coming up later on this evening, 7 o'clock the tip-off, and we'll have all of that for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Again, Wright State, Eastern Michigan tonight, 7 o'clock the tip-off. Make sure you go check that out. Final non-conference game for Wright State before it's all Horizon League play moving forward. So we'll see how that goes. Ron Howard. Ron, I hope you're well. He says, happy holidays, Justin, from North Carolina. Ron, you're not freezing with us over here. What's the weather where you're at? What's the weather like where you're at? I'm sure it has to be better than here, but nonetheless. But again, we welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner, excited to be with you here. I'm in the Christmas spirit, okay? And, I've all of a sudden found this talent of mine. I feel like I'm I like to write poetry now. All right. 'Twas the night before Christmas. I'm all about the holidays right now. I'm all about Christmas. Okay. So I'm pretty excited about this. I've worked very, very hard to put all this together for you. We're going to go through and we're just going to have fun celebrating some of our local teams. All right. So that's where we're at. 'Twas the night before Christmas. Who are we going to hit first? Let's start with the Michigan Wolverines, shall we? 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the big house, not a person with morals stirring, not even a mouse. Arrests, investigations, suspensions galore. Every month seems to bring another scandal to score. Jim Harbaugh stood smiling with that khaki-clad grin, while rule after rule got bent paper thin. Connor Stalions lurking, stealing signs like a thief, turned Michigan pride into national disbelief. They couldn't beat Ohio State straight up on the field. It led to so many scandals, there's still records concealed. But order was restored, justice finally appeared when Ohio State stepped in and fixed things this year. All right, here we go as we wrap this up. Merry Christmas, Ann Arbor. Enjoy the national title memories. The rest of us, well, we all remember how you got those victories. Merry Christmas, Michigan fans, you bunch of cheaters. You support a cheating program. How about that? I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I just thought, I'm Christmas spirit right now. I thought it would be fair that we kind of hit on a lot of these teams and kind of expose them for what they've done to us this season. They've really made us suffer all season long. Let's do it again. This time with your Cincinnati Reds. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through Reds land, fans prayed the front office might finally take a stand. But stockings were empty. The payroll was light because Cincinnati hates spending with all of its might. We know how cheap we know how cheap that front office could be. Other teams sign stars, build winners, take swings. The Reds clip coupons and hope youth fixes things. They preach patience and promise the future is near. That's kind of funny because I think we kind of hear that same speech every year. Am I right, Reds fans? I think I'm right. So Merry Christmas, Reds fans. Enjoy the same old refrain. Big dreams, small payroll, and plenty of budget pain. I think that's pretty good. Right? If this radio thing doesn't work out, and I think a lot of you would argue that it's not working out, I think you would like to see me kind of go elsewhere, but I'm just saying, I think I do have a talent. I think I'm pretty good at this poetry thing. I think I should keep it going. How about you? Should I keep this going? Should we keep the party going? I think that the people are enjoying this. So that's what we're going to do. This time I got to pick on my Dayton Flyers. You guys know how much of a big Flyers fan that I am. So this one's for you, Flyer fans. I doubt you're going to like this one, but what the heck? Here we go. Ready? All right. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and Dayton fans cheer. Another hot start. Well, like they do every year. Big wins, like always, in November and December. How many times have they won that league recently? I can't remember. You guys have any idea? Can you guys help me with that? I don't know. They beat high major strong, yet in conference, they always stall. Can you guys please explain how that happens? I'm still waiting for that call. I would really kind of like to know. Kind of where we're at. Every conference game, I expect them to wow me. It's just too bad that they don't play the A-10 tournament in Maui. Come on, that was a good one. You know it. Thank you. Thank you. And one last wish as we wrap up this slam. Quit fearing Wright State, and will you please, you cowards, bring back the Gem City Jam. Merry Christmas, Dayton fans. Merry Christmas, Dayton fans. Thank you. Thank you. Rob Panel, he liked the Reds one. He says, coupon clipping, Reds, false hope, playoff team. See, you're kind of getting it. You're kind of getting it. I got to end it with my guy, Joe Burrow, right? You guys know how much I love Joe Burrow. You guys know how much I love your Cincinnati Bengals, right? I think it just makes sense that I go out with the bang, that I go out taking a shot at your Cincinnati Bengals, right? I think that would make sense. So you guys want me to go again? I think so. Here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the Justin Kinner show, not a Bengals fan smiling. Their reason, well, the season's a no-go. Look, Burrow was pressured. The defense always fell asleep. Missed tackles piled higher than snow in your Paycor seat. I was proud of that one. Thank you. Thank you. The jungle was quiet. The roar turned to sighs as I sipped my cocoa with joy in my eyes. I'm enjoying the struggles, guys. I'm enjoying it. I would be lying if I said, I'm not enjoying this. I'm enjoying it a little. I think you guys are too. Listen to the applause. You guys are loving this. While Bengals fans hoped for a playoff miracle, I'm not going to lie. I thought all of your optimism was quite hysterical. Joe Burrow, he's all hype, but the math, it just doesn't lie. Look, guys, four missed playoffs in 6 years. I can't let that slide. Look, Jamar Chase, he loves to spit on other players. I like to spit hot takes. Look, the good news is at least you're not in last place. So cheers, Bengals fans, to this upcoming offseason. Now, I know it hasn't begun, but y'all better start hoping, Joe Burrow, that he has fun because he keeps crying. So Merry Christmas, Dayton. One thing's crystal clear. Joe Burrow's watching in January from his home again this year. Yeah, I'm proud of that one. I think I did pretty good with those. Do you guys think you could write anything better? Do you guys think that your poetry skills are as good as mine? 'Twas the night before Christmas. I'm curious. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I appreciate all of you. Hour number 1 in the books. We got a ton more to get into. 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your local forecast tonight: cloudy with showers after midnight, a low of 40. For tomorrow, overcast, slight chance of a rain shower, high of 54. And on Wednesday, cloudy skies with chances of rain, a high of 49. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Santa here. I used to shop online, but they don't have anything in stock. Now I go to the Hobby Shop, where I save money by getting fun and exciting gifts in stock from a locally owned small business that beats Amazon. The Hobby Shop near the Dayton Mall has the latest RC planes by Hobby Zone and the toughest radio control trucks from Arma. Want to go fast? The Hobby Shop has RC jets in stock from E-Flight. Keep your money local. Their shelves are stocked at the Hobby Shop just north of the Dayton Mall across the street from Lowe's. Call 436-6161.
ABS, does that mean always bring snacks? TPMS, does that mean tiny potholes make squeaks? AWD, does that mean all wheels are dancing? No, that's not right. But here's the truth. Carol Works Tire knows the real meanings and will keep your car safe without all the jargon. Carol Works Tire. Tires, service, and tire values you can count on. Find us online at c-wtire.com or talk to a real human at 937-461-5441.
Get a great deal on select Kubota construction equipment featuring durable Kubota engines. More comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. Right now, write it off a lot and write it off your taxes for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months or save up to $4,500. Now through December 31st. Subject to credit approval. Consult your tax advisor. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full details.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment or check us out online at columbusequipment.com.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
This holiday season, power up your Christmas with Skill. From drills and drivers to sanders and saws, Skill delivers advanced performance and durability with the convenience of cordless technology. The PowerCore 20 battery powers every Skill 20-volt tool for ultimate versatility. Hurry, Christmas is almost here. Save big money on all Skill power tools at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Pain has a way of stealing the moments that matter most, especially during the holidays. It's not just your knees, back, or shoulder. It's time with family and friends. But in 2026, that could all change when your body remembers how to heal. It just needs a little help finding the way back. QC Kinetic here in Dayton believes relief doesn't have to come from surgery or pain pills. They use your body's own natural healing abilities to repair and restore what's been lost, helping you move, live, and feel like yourself again. It's your body's comeback story, powered by the very cells that built you in the first place. No surgery, no pain pills, no long recovery, just your body remembering how to feel alive again. QC Kinetics delivers long-term relief finally. Make the new year your turning point, where pain stops defining you. It's time to take that first step, literally, to walk, hike, dance, enjoy the holidays, live without wincing. With QC Kinetics, healing is within reach. Schedule your free consultation today. For treatments, call QC Kinetics 937-936-0325.
Let's go to Chevrolet of Troy, because no one beats our prices on new Chevys, and that's a guarantee. Come and see. Chevrolet of Troy has the largest selection in Dayton and the Miami Valley, featuring over 100 new Chevys. Bring your trade for top price. We make financing quick and easy. In fact, no payments for 90 days. Credit problems? No problem. We'll get you financed. Best selection, best prices. That's who we are. At Chevrolet of Troy, 1375 South Market Street, online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Progressive Commercial Insurance protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
What does fame taste like? Is it the crunch of fried to perfection chicken strips? The signature seasoning and jumbo spicy dippers that greet your taste buds with a hug? The crispy wedges that complement both of these things? Or is it the monsoon of flavor from barbecue, buffalo, or our new famous sauce that washes over all of the above, taking you to a higher plane of tasty consciousness? Get saucy and find out with the saucy sampler from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Only at Lee's, famous for a reason.
The office space to fill.
code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio. The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Happy Monday. It's the final show of the week. Off for the rest of the week into Christmas. We'll be back a week from today. I love the holidays. I love Christmas, but from a work standpoint, it's like the constant. You start to press the gas, you get rolling, then you got to slam on the brakes. It really starts with Thanksgiving. Then you get a couple weeks of momentum going, and then you got to slam on the brakes again because the holidays. And then you come back from Christmas, you get rolling, then you got to slam on the brakes again because it's New Year. I'm just ready to get through New Year's and just start the year off fresh. And, of course, hopefully still talking about Ohio State. I mean, my goodness, the Browns and Bengals have let us down. The Reds have let us down in free agency. Ohio State's the number 2 team in the country. They're going to be taking on, they're going to be taking on the U. They're going to be taking on Miami coming up, on New Year's Eve in the Cotton Bowl. So we're going to be talking about that more. There was an update about Ryan Day's role. I know he's the head coach, but his role is going to be different heading into this matchup than it has in some time. And that could play a role and impact this showdown, I should say, with Miami. And Ohio State, once again, faces a very tough path to a national championship. Having to face Miami, you get that first round bye. You have to face Miami right off the bat. Then you've got to play Georgia in the semifinal, and then either a rematch with the only team that beat you this year in Indiana, maybe Alabama. I mean, who knows? Texas Tech. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds. But I'm a big fan of how the first round went. The first round went how we thought. We knew the tweaks to the playoff were going to make this a lot more interesting. The tweaks being that, the conference champions don't get, that they don't get buys. I thought that was kind of, because then you had to force a lot of these matchups early on, which I wasn't a fan of. So we got a lot of really good first round matchups. And then for everyone out there that likes to defend the little guy, we got to stop it with that, because I think there's certain things in sports where it really irritates me, because I feel like we know what everyone means. Like when people say that the Tulanes of the world shouldn't be in the college football playoff, that the James Madisons shouldn't be in the college football playoff. I don't know why, all the do-gooder media has to put their Superman capes on and feel like they have to go fight all the evil, villainous media out there spreading this hateful propaganda, because all that they want is their SEC schools in or their Big Ten schools in. And I'm here to tell you, I don't have Big Ten schools or SEC schools or anything. I'm not even big media, but I share the same opinion as a lot of big media, because I truly don't believe that they should be in. I call games and I work closely with a mid-major basketball program. I'm very well aware of the little guy. I'm also very well aware that football and basketball are completely different. I've shared my take with you guys on this before. The NCAA tournament and the college football playoff, they're not even close to being the same. Upsets happen in the NCAA tournament because they are allowed to happen. That, or there's one little thing that allows mid-majors to pull off upsets against high majors, and it's the ultimate equalizer, and it's an equalizer that does not exist or have the equivalent of in football, and that is the three-point shot. I went back and looked. Okay, I went and did the last 10 years. There has not been one double-digit seed in the NCAA tournament that pulled off an upset that didn't hit 10 or more threes in a game. My theory is supported by that. It's a 10-year sample size. But if you go look at every double-digit upset in the NCAA tournament, every single time the double-digit seed hit double-digit threes, and like I said before, the three-point shot is the ultimate equalizer. Okay? Not a hot take, but Wright State, if they make the NCAA tournament, they don't have very big bigs. They definitely don't have enough bigs to go after a Purdue, to go after a Duke, or go after anybody. Just like a few years ago, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, out of the conference that Wright State is in the Horizon League, they had a very, very good big, but they didn't have very good bigs. They had very good bigs to compete and win the Horizon League. They didn't have good bigs to go and compete. Now, I know they had a guy that transferred over to Arizona, but they had one good big, and those teams could usually neutralize him. But it was all about the three-point shot. Golke, the guy whose head looked like a Lego, like that guy, he was all about the three-point shot. So in the NCAA tournament, mid-majors have a chance to beat the high majors, and they're usually not bigger than those high majors. They're not faster than those high majors, and they're not stronger than those high majors. Sports, more times than not, is pretty simple. Bigger, faster, stronger. Oh, I want as many 4 and 5 stars. I don't care. I just want you to be bigger. I want you to be faster. I want you to be stronger. Simple as that. Sports are pretty simple. We overcomplicate it with all these advanced analytics and everything else. It's pretty simple. Bigger, faster, stronger. Oh, who's playing tonight? I don't really know much about these teams. Okay, give me the team that's bigger, that's faster, that's stronger. Sports is pretty damn simple. All right, it's a game of physics. Football is. Basketball is too. But mid-majors, when they hit the three, when they shoot the three very well, that's the ultimate equalizer. Wright State has a shot to knock off high majors if they are hot from three. You're not going to beat a high major if you are a mid-major because you got hot from the baseline. It's just not going to, you know what I mean? It's not a hot take. It's just the reality of it. I bring that up because in college football, there is no equalizer. There is nothing in a football game to close the gap between a mid-major or between a small school and a big school. It's that simple. And that's why, there will never be upsets in the college football playoff. There just won't be. And that's the thing. That's why I've never been a fan of letting the little guy in what's already a very small and truncated college football playoff field to begin with. So James Madison and people want to do this. Didn't Ohio State get shut up by Clemson 31-0 when you're in the playoffs? So should they not be in? It's we don't need to overcomplicate this. This is, once again, very smart people who cover college football, like Nicole Arbach and reporters like that. She knows football. She's choosing to not understand football right now because she wanted to put her Superwoman cape on and go defend the world for the little guy. All for the little guy to get pummeled like all the jerks in media said was going to happen. We don't need to do the do-gooder media thing for this one. No one hates the kids at James Madison. It's not like, man, that quarterback, I hope he fails every class. I hope he just has a life full of misfortune moving forward. No. I just want to be entertained. And we weren't entertained with those games. And you could say, well, there are high major teams who get blown out. Yeah. But the probability, I know as a fan, though, if I sit down to watch two high major teams go head to head, the probability of me being entertained is significantly higher than, oh, gee, can James Madison keep it close against Oregon? We know that question, or we know the answer to that question. This isn't difficult, and we saw it over the weekend. I thought that the college football playoff was significantly better. I thought it was significantly better, and I thought a lot of the results were what we expected on the James Madison Tulane side. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's kind of where a lot of us are at. There is no need to get super defensive. Good for James Madison. They put up 34 points on Oregon. Swell. They gave up 51. Bigger, faster, stronger. Oregon bullied them, muscled them. It's that simple. Alabama, Oklahoma, very good game, 34-24. How about Kellen DeBoer right there? Alabama over Oklahoma, taking care of business. They now take on Indiana. I love this. This is why I love this playoff. And I may sound like a hypocrite. I technically have covered my arse with this for many years. I said if they ever did expand the playoff to 12, I was going to hate it because I thought that it diluted September, October, and November. And it kind of has. But it's had almost a different impact because although it's watered down those months, what it has done, and we saw it with Ohio State last year, it allows you to mess up. I mean, Alabama's a 3-loss team. It allows you don't have to be perfect anymore. It used to be in the 14 playoff. It's like, man, my goodness, like Texas lost to Ohio State in week 1. During the 14 playoff era, your season's pretty much done. Now, again, they could win out, but the likelihood of that happening, and it didn't, is very slim. So it allows, and I know Texas still missed the playoff, but they lost to Florida, and they lost games moving forward. It's not because they lost to Ohio State, but it's just one of those things where you don't have to be perfect. Indiana's perfect. I don't think they're a perfect team, but they have a perfect record. But you know what I mean? They were allowed to get better as the season went on. They are way better now. The Indiana team I saw against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game and they didn't put up a ton of points, but they still looked better than the Indiana team that knocked off top 5 Oregon in Eugene a month prior. It allows you to get better. It used to be you have to be as much of a finished product as possible in week 1 on in the 4-team college football playoff. You don't have to do that. It's more forgiving. I like that. But I didn't like the 12-team playoff because it diluted the regular season. However, when you did get to the playoff games, the matchups you're going to get are phenomenal. Phenomenal. Alabama, Indiana. Indiana can hide all they want in the non-con. I supported that. I support their diabetes. Their schedule, their non-con schedule is just full of cupcakes. You get diabetes looking at their non-con schedule, right? Like it's that bad. I have no problem with it. You could hide from good teams in your non-con. Sometimes, based on the rotations and the scheduling gods, you could avoid really good teams in your conference schedule. But in the playoffs, you can't hide. So all the doubts and all the questions about just how good is this Indiana team, an Indiana team that went to Oregon and won by double digits on the road against, at the time, a top 5 team in football, we still didn't believe it then. They'd faced a top 10 Illinois team and put up 60-something points, and they won by 50. They had 2 wins against top 10 opponents and outscored those top 10 opponents by a combined 70 points. And we, including me, still said, I still don't know. Then they would go on to run the table. They beat Penn State, and they didn't even play their best game, but sometimes that's what is impressive. Sometimes when you are not playing your best game and you still find a way to win, I think that shows you something. And then they play Ohio State, the biggest somebody of somebodies, and they don't just play them well. They beat them in the Big Ten championship. They are an undefeated Big Ten champion with 3 quality wins, no losses. And for all of you out there who are doubting Indiana, guess what? They now have number 9 Alabama. And I know how this is going to go. Indiana, who is a 6.5-point favorite over Alabama, they're going to beat Alabama. And I already know what you guys are going to say. Well, it's not Nick Saban's Alabama. It's always something with this Indiana team. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's fair or not. But we keep moving the goalposts when it comes to Indiana. And I'm fascinated by this matchup. I can't wait. I'm really excited for this Indiana-Alabama matchup. We'll see what ultimately, kind of goes down. But I love the playoff because of the matchups that it's providing. Number 5, Oregon. Number 4, Texas Tech. Oregon is a 1.5-point favorite in the Capital One Orange Bowl. That's a New Year's game. It's a noon kickoff. Texas Tech. There's so much. Think about the NIL money that is just being piped through that state. Texas Tech. Texas is a national power every year. I know they didn't make it this year, but they've been in the playoffs, the last 2 years, semifinals the last 2 years. Texas is an NIL hotbed. Texas Tech. You have SMU, right? There's so many of these Texas schools, Texas A&M, who just got knocked out. But think about this. Ohio State runs this state. UC might get some scraps, but Ohio State runs this state. Think of how much money has to be going through the state of Texas, which is a ginormous state, yes. But think of how much NIL money is being piped through that state to be able to support a Texas Tech, a Texas A&M. There's SMU. There's Power 4 schools galore throughout that state. Texas Tech in the playoff. Texas is a regular in the playoff. I know they're not this year. Texas A&M is pretty dang impressive. Texas Tech and Oregon, I'm fascinated by that matchup. Oregon, who lost in the quarterfinals last year after having a first-round bye, got blown out by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, looking to get their first victory in the college football playoff since joining the Big Ten and since the 12-team expansion. So that's going to be an intriguing storyline right there. Oregon, Texas Tech, the winner will advance to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl January 8th or 9th, and they will on January 9th. And they'll take on the winner between Indiana and Alabama. We could potentially see Oregon and Indiana in a rematch in the semifinals. How cool would that be? Some people don't want to see rematches, and I know we're going to see like an Ole Miss Georgia rematch and this and the other, but these matchups that have been formed because of this playoff, I'm in love with it. I love it. Oregon, Texas Tech is going to be a battle. Alabama, Indiana. Indiana's a 6.5-point favorite. Some still doubt the offense of Indiana as far as just how good it actually is. Well, we're going to find out against Alabama's defense. Alabama's offense is a little inconsistent up and down. They made a lot of big plays in their win against Oklahoma, against a good Oklahoma defense. So how good is Alabama? How good is Indiana? We're going to find out. We can get Oregon, Alabama in the semifinal, or Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, Oregon. Whatever semifinal matchup we get, it's going to be amazing because of the results of what's going to happen in the Rose Bowl. Alabama, Indiana in the Rose Bowl. How cool is that? It would have been cool. I was supposed to go to the Rose Bowl this year. I wanted to go to the Rose Bowl to see Ohio State again, but they lost to Indiana. But this could have been Alabama, Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, but it is what it is. Bottom half of the bracket, Ole Miss routs Tulane. Shocker, 41-10. And now Ole Miss is going to take on Georgia, who earned the first round bye. Georgia wins the SEC championship game. Many believe that they should have jumped up to number 2, but the committee rewarded Ohio State for an undefeated regular season. Didn't want to knock them back multiple spots after suffering their only loss by having to play an extra game. They didn't want to punish Ohio State for playing that extra game, so they dropped Ohio State to the 2-seed line, and Georgia's at the 3-seed line. So Georgia and Ole Miss in the 3 versus 6, January 1st, 8 o'clock, the kickoff on ESPN. Georgia is favored in that by 6.5. Georgia is favored by Ole Miss in that one, and that's the All-State Sugar Bowl, by the way, and that's going to be a fun one right there. Now, some people, like I said, not fans, not fans of some of the rematches, but you're going to get rematches, and I think rematches are interesting because you don't get those in college football very often. You might get them in a conference championship game, and we've seen that before. We saw that in the SEC with Georgia and Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia in the regular season, but they lost to Georgia in the SEC championship. And then you look at Ole Miss, who's about to take on Georgia. They lost to Georgia by a possession. It was 43-35. They lost against Georgia at Georgia just about, a month and some change into the season. So 2 months into the season, but either way, I'm excited for it, to be honest with you. And then the winner of Georgia Ole Miss will go on to the Fiesta Bowl to take on the winner between Ohio State and Miami. And Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite against the U. They played back, was that Fickle when he was coaching? I think they played in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And then before that, it was the national championship game in 2001 between Ohio State and Miami when Ohio State came out on top. And that was Tressel's first and only national championship as head coach of the Ohio State. But I love it. Ohio State, Miami, that's the brands that you want to see in this playoff. I know Georgia, Ole Miss, it's an SEC rematch, but it's going to be a hell of a game. Alabama, Indiana, I love that crossover there. Big Ten's finest against one of the SEC's finest. Love it. Oregon, Texas Tech, you have these conferences colliding. Love it. And then the semifinal possibilities of, like I mentioned, potentially Oregon, Indiana in a rematch, or Oregon against Alabama in the semifinals with a chance to get to the national championship on the line. And then the semifinals in the bottom half, a Fiesta Bowl possibility of Ohio State against Georgia, or maybe Miami against Georgia. Ohio State, Ole Miss, I would love that matchup. I love all these matchups. And I think we're going to be very, very entertained. I think that this bracket was way better than last year's. Outside of the James Madison, of course, inclusion, and Tulane. Like, there were still Notre Dame fans who were getting mad at me saying, so you still think that those schools should have been in over Notre Dame? Do I think that they should be in over Notre Dame? Absolutely, because that's the rule. The rule, I don't like that Tulane and James Madison are in the playoff, but based on how the rules in the playoff work, yes, I think that they deserve to be in over Notre Dame because of how those rules work. Do I think that that's the right format? Hell no, I don't. I do not think that those schools are better than Notre Dame. But I also don't think those schools are better than Texas. And I think Texas should have been in over one of those two teams. And I think Texas should have been in over Notre Dame. What? They got 3 losses because they actually play people. They play in a very tough SEC conference. As you guys know, you don't have to like the SEC, but it's not rocket science. You're going to play somebody. Every other week, you're probably playing somebody. And Notre Dame, who faced two really good teams to kick off the season and then faced the bottom of the barrel of the ACC, Big Ten, and SEC the rest of the way, and then they want to pound their chest and act like they did something, doesn't work that way, champ. For Notre Dame to have so many, it's a tough school to get into. You have to be really smart to go there. It's amazing how many of their fans clearly didn't go to school because they're clearly not able to comprehend how this works. Never said that any of those schools were better than Notre Dame, but they all deserve to be there over Notre Dame because of how the format works. Format needs to change. It needs to be the top 12 teams, period. But not how it works. Doug Toby, what up, Doug? He says, new year, new quarterback, same old pain. Are you trying to do one of these as well? I see what you're doing. Oh, okay. Doug Toby, he wants to get in on the Christmas spirit. All right. He didn't like my poem that I wrote about his bum Cincinnati Bengals with the phony Joe Burrow quarterback. Okay. By the way, if you missed it, I wrote a poem about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Doug Toby's a Bengals fan. Of course, he got his feelings hurt. He's as soft as his quarterback, Joe Burrow, who, like the kid that was throwing the tantrum in line at TJ Maxx that I told you about earlier today, throwing a tantrum, wasn't getting what he wanted. Then the mom caved, gave him what he wanted, and then he was smiling and talking about how awesome his mom and the store was. When a little bit ago, he was threatening to take the pop and spill it all over the floor, and because how much he hated TJ Maxx and all this. And I'm like, but then the mom caved, gave him what he wanted, and then he was all smiles and talked about how much he loved it. I said, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm looking at a little Joe Burrow right now. For one, it was the crying that got me, Joe Burrow. But two, it was the, oh my gosh, I'm not getting what I want. I'm not having fun. I don't like this anymore. I don't want to play football anymore. And then, oh, look, we won a football game, and now everything is just rainbows and sunshine. I love playing football. Football's fun. Yes, duh. Joe Burrow, you're not special. All right? Everyone doesn't like losing. Everyone loves winning. But you as a quarterback making $55 million a year, you need to be a leader because you kind of sucked the energy out of your fan base the last couple of weeks because you were throwing a little social media and press conference temper tantrum. I thought that was probably the worst leadership of Joe Burrow's career was that little tantrum he threw recently. So, nonetheless. But, Doug Toby, I tell you what, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm going to read your poem. Doug Toby wrote a poem as well, so I want to make sure that we include this on today's Christmas poem edition of the show as we kind of highlight all of our teams, because he's right. I did forget my team, the Cleveland Browns. So, Doug Toby, he messages this in. New year, new quarterback, same old pain. We spend all the money, get none of the game. Coach says, trust me, the pack's up his desk. By week 3, we're yelling, who's next, who's next? Still wearing the colors, still losing with pride. The Browns don't rebuild. They just rebrand the ride. That's a good one, Doug Toby. I'm proud of you. Well done. You get it. You understand. Man, good for him. Anyone else want to play along? By all means. I wrote poems about pretty much all of your teams. I took shots at pretty much all of your teams. But I appreciate Doug Toby kind of jumping in. Doug Toby, also a big UD fan. His UD Flyers are they are the main reason we don't get the Gem City Jam every year. Because they're egos, right? So, Doug Toby, you want to send a poem to me? I'm gonna give another poem back to you. How about this one? Okay. How about you? We're gonna do this. This is the Gem City Jam edition of your coward Dayton Flyers who will not play Wright State. 'Twas the night before Christmas in the Gem City scene, and fans just kept wondering why this rivalry, it's not seen. Wright State, they sit waiting. The Raiders, they're all game, but Dayton keeps dodging while protecting their name. You know how they are. They think very highly of themselves. Once upon a time, it was city and pride. Now it's politics, ego, and a matchup that's undone. They'll say nothing to gain. They'll spin and they'll ram, but deep down they know that's why there's no Gem City Jam. Come on, people in charge at UD, you're ruining it. The city would pack it. The buzz would be real. 2 programs, 1 town with something to feel. But instead we get silence. Classic Neil Sullivan and UD, higher ups. Just talk and no fight because one side's more worried about looking just right. Liberty Bibberty. So Merry Christmas, Dayton. Here's the truth of the plan. We don't see the rivalry because you ran. Nice job, Dayton. You're afraid of Wright State. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Doug Toby, that one was for you, my friend. That was for you, my friend. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now.
ED treatments including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
How about this news that came out earlier today? Kind of surprising. The Kansas City Chiefs will be leaving the state of Missouri and will announce a move to Kansas later on today with plans to replace the popular but aging Arrowhead Stadium with a new state-of-the-art venue capable of hosting major year-round events. Fans not happy with that. That's why, I get Cleveland. It's easy to dunk on Cleveland. Anything football-related, Cleveland, you dunk on them. And you probably should. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to go that far and say that, you guys need to leave them alone. No, I do think that a lot of the jokes that are made about Cleveland is a lot of it's self-inflicted. They create a lot of their own chaos. One thing that I will defend, though, their decision to move their stadium to get a state-of-the-art indoor dome. I laughed when people were talking about the fact that, Cleveland, that's a soft move. It's AFC North football. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of you guys are making those comments in July when it's warm outside, but how about the weather that we've had as of late? I'm pretty sure a lot of you would much rather, you guys, again, this goes back to what a lot of you guys do. You put on this weird Superman cape and you pretend to be a do-gooder. Oh, football should be played outside. Football should make money. And that's what this is all about at the end of the day. The Chiefs have been the number one dynasty in the NFL post Tom Brady, right? I don't even think it's up for debate. They have the face of the NFL and Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes. They have every reason. Their fans should be pissed because you're taking our team, our quarterback, our players. You're taking them away from us so that they can have a state-of-the-art indoor facility, this, that, and the other. Guys, this is a team that I think it was last year, the season before in the playoffs, when they had it was minus 15, minus 20. The wind chill got so low that after the game, there were fans who got frostbite and fans who, because there wasn't enough Ubers to get people quickly from point A to point B, people's cars wouldn't start and they were stranded in those below zero temperatures. And there were some life-threatening issues that happened. Now, that's not why they're doing this. It's all about money. But, it's easy for all of you do-gooders out there to talk about how tough it is. You need to play football outside. Oh, stop. Yes, when it's 30 degrees, 25 degrees, it's raining. Okay, fine. I went to the Browns-Dolphins game about a month and a half ago, and it just – I almost said a word I can't say. It just dropped a lot of rain the entire time. I mean, it was football weather. I was fine with it. But when we talk about those frigid temps, it's stupid to go out there. It totally ruins a football game. Snow completely ruins a football game. They're cool. It's awesome. I went to the Browns-Steelers game last year for the Snow Globe game. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. But I do know I would like to experience going to games with my wife, and she will not go to games with me when it's cold outside. So I'm excited about the indoor facility coming. But this is all about future earnings. It's all about getting big events to come to your state. And Kansas, and Kansas City Chiefs are leaving Kansas City. They're leaving Missouri because they want a venue that is going to allow them to put bids in for Final Fours. You can make fun of wrestling all you want, but WrestleMania is a ginormous, and not just WrestleMania, but WrestleMania and SummerSlam and a lot of their big high-profile PLEs that are two-night events, that they're selling out these massive, ginormous NFL stadiums, not once, but twice in one weekend. Trust me, those economies, those cities, those states, they want that. But do-gooder Tommy over here with his fake Superman cape on, football is supposed to be played outdoors while you watch in front of your fireplace at home. Come on now. What do we do? I don't mind that Kansas, that they're doing this. But, it is what it is. So we'll see what ends up happening. But the bottom line is I do think that's a big deal. I mean, because it's one thing, Cleveland's bad. So everyone's like, oh, that's fine. Take Cleveland away or take the Browns away. Kansas City. They're coming. They've missed the playoffs, but they're coming off of 3 straight Super Bowl appearances. Patrick Mahomes, this is the first time that, yes, he's missed the playoffs, but it's also the first season where he will not play in the AFC Championship game. That's pretty remarkable. So to have a team this high profile, this successful A dynasty. I mean, you don't see dynasties just picked up and moved in the middle of it. You could say that their dynasty is done. I'm so tired of hearing that talk. Oh, Tom Brady, his entire career in New England was Tom Brady in New England. They went like 7 straight years without a Super Bowl appearance. What are you talking about? Like the Super Bowl or the dynasty era for the Chiefs is not done. It's not. They went to 3 straight Super Bowls. All right, they went to 4. They've been to how many straight AFC Championship games throughout the Patrick Mahomes era? Like, and the one time that they don't, I mean, it's the first time in 3 years that they are not going to get to the Super Bowl. It's the first time in the Mahomes era that they don't make the playoffs. And all of a sudden the dynasty's over. No, they're just going to do what the Patriots had to do, and they have to reposition some stuff, and then they're going to go on another little run, and then they're going to disappear for a bit. Then they're going to go on another run. That's why football is the most dominant sport in our country, because it is set up to allow teams to be cyclical. Really, really good, then you got to reset. If you're really, really bad, you have an opportunity. The Browns had a really good draft. They put another good draft together. They could dig themselves out of this hole. That's why the NFL is set up for that. And it's all about getting that franchise quarterback. That's what makes what the Bengals have done so damn embarrassing, that you have a franchise quarterback and you're about to miss the playoffs for the 4th time in 6 years since Joe Burrow was officially a Bengal. I'm sorry, but make fun of my Browns all you want. But I find what the Bengals have done the last 6 years way more embarrassing than anything the Browns have done, because the Browns have just done everything they can to desperately get the quarterback to put them in position to win. The Bengals have that and have effed it up for the 6 years. How, when Joe Burrow is your quarterback, do you miss the playoffs for 3 straight years? How in the world, with Joe Burrow as your quarterback, do you miss the playoffs 4 times in 6 years? That's what's fascinating to me. That's what I can't wrap my head around. And I see Bengals fans on social media taking shots. I guess Patrick Mahomes isn't this good. They didn't even make the playoffs. I think you should sit this one out. If Patrick Mahomes, who has been to 3 straight Super Bowls, who's won multiple Super Bowls, multiple MVPs, if you're saying he's not good because for the first time in his career, he's not going to make the playoffs, not even make it to an AFC Championship game for the first time in his career, what does that make your bum of a quarterback, Joe Burrow, then, who's missed it 4 times in 6 years and has missed it 3 straight years? You guys are trying to discredit Patrick Mahomes for missing the playoffs for the first time in his entire career, all while defending your quarterback who's missed it 4 and 6 years. You guys don't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Nonetheless, but would you ride with 12 up in Cleveland, or would you draft a new one? This comes from Kirk on YouTube. What up, Kirk? I would not draft a new one. I think that, look, Joe Flacco, who looked, and we talked about this in the first hour, Joe Flacco looked horrendous in Cleveland the first couple of games that he was in Cleveland, right? I thought, they had lightning in a bottle with Joe Flacco 2 years ago. He's obviously an aging veteran quarterback. He doesn't have it anymore. It was a fun little run. He's lost it. He doesn't have talent anymore. Then Joe Flacco goes to Cincinnati and was better than any version of Joe Burrow we've seen this year. Maybe yesterday Joe Burrow was very, very good. But outside of that, we've seen Joe Flacco play the position way better than Burrow has all season in that run that he was here. So clearly, Joe Flacco had the talent. He just didn't have the talent around him. Joe Flacco looked like he had no talent in Cincinnati and Cleveland with no talent. He has that talent still there. He just needed help around it. So if Joe Flacco, who was the best veteran, most accomplished quarterback that still could play at a high level that's out there, if he couldn't get it done in Cleveland, why should we expect a project in Dylan Gabriel to get it done? All we've been told by Cleveland and the NFL is a lot of the deficiencies that Shedeur has within his game. Why should we expect him to work magic with the crap that is Cleveland's offense right now? So I don't think it's a fair assessment. That's why I think, because of the big-time plays we've seen Shedeur make, Shedeur looks the part. Shedeur looks like a rookie quarterback on a horrendously bad team. Joe Burrow's not doing much different with this team. Josh Allen's not doing much different with this team. You would probably see better plays from them more consistently, as you should, from really expensive, veteran, successful quarterbacks. But I don't think that Joe Burrow would be winning with this Browns team. I don't think Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert would. So to sit there and say, well, Shedeur's not good because he's not winning in Cleveland. Nobody's winning in Cleveland out there. There's not a quarterback out there that was going to win with this group. So to answer your question, Kirk, no, I would not draft another quarterback next next April, I would use those 2 first-round picks to get Tate Martell, my goodness, Carnell Tate. Tate Martell, that's a name I haven't thrown out in a while. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, yeah. But no, Carnell Tate, I'm sorry. I might have said Tate Martell earlier too. My apologies. Carnell Tate is who I think that they need to get him. The number 1 receiver in the draft. They need to get him with that first round pick that they have, and then they need to get an offensive lineman with that second one. I was hoping that the Jags are pretty damn good. The Jags might surprise some people. They've already surprised people in the regular season. They might surprise people come playoff time. But I was hoping that they would be bad, so the Browns would get 2 top 15, 2 top 10 picks. That's obviously not the case at this point. So to answer your question, I was long-winded there, Kirk. Don't draft a quarterback. They have too many other needs right now, and why draft another young quarterback to throw out there and try to start this clock all over again? I think that Shador, who has looked really good with a lot of things, and I'm not going all, Josina Anderson on everybody, but, against all odds and all that dramatic BS that she was spewing out there not too long ago. But a lot of what she was saying was true. It was just the way that she was framing it that was just making her look very, very weird. But like Shador had absolutely 0 first-team reps before he ever made his first appearance as a Brown against the Jets, right? And then he only had a couple days of first-team reps when he made his debut as the starter against the Raiders. And as he's gotten more first-team reps over the last couple of weeks, he's looked better and better in every game. So I think that, yes, that needs to be the guy. I think he needs to be their quarterback heading into next season. Deshaun Watson, you can't move on from that contract, and he's healthy and going to be back. I think that your quarterback room should be Shador Sanders, QB1, Deshaun Watson, QB2, Dylan Gabriel, QB3. It's not a home run hitting QB room by any means, but if Shador is the guy and you give him a buttoned-up offensive line and you give him some help, some pass catchers, guys, even the interceptions he throws, I mean, the one that was batted down at the offensive line, that's a problem, right? But we've seen this all season, receivers who can't catch the damn football, and then the ball bounces in the air and then it's picked off. Shador throws bad picks. He doesn't need help from his receivers who can't catch as well. I think you can't get a true assessment of any quarterback until you give him talent. I've never been a believer in NFL teams who wait to see if they have someone at quarterback before they give him talent. You should already have him talent when he comes into the league so that you know what you have. And besides, it would only speed up the progression process if he had talent around him. So, yeah, I don't draft anybody. I think that the goal should be that's your starting quarterback next year, and let's ultimately see what happens. I think Shador's looked solid. I think he played very, very well against one of the best. I mean, Buffalo is one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. And they have made a lot of really good quarterbacks in recent weeks look very, very average at best. So I thought that Shador went out there and put up very, very good numbers against one of the best defenses in the NFL at this point. Drake May threw for under 200 yards against that defense. Joe Burrow was not very good against that defense. Aaron Rodgers was not good, and neither was C.J. Stroud. Baker Mayfield was not good. A lot of quarterbacks have been horrendous against this passing defense of the Bills, and I thought Shador looked solid considering bad offensive line. They couldn't run the football, and he has no pass catchers. So, yeah, I'm fine with Shador being the quarterback heading into next season, nonetheless. Also, because I'm not a big fan of any of the quarterbacks in the draft. Now, let me hit pause on this because the bottom line is, as we move forward, Mendoza, I can't wait to watch what he does against Alabama. I thought Mendoza looked really, really good against Ohio State's defense. NFL guy. He was going up against an NFL defense, right? Same thing against Alabama. I want to see Mendoza, if he starts making them big plays against Alabama's defense and then could do it again against Oregon and Ohio State in the following game, in the upcoming games, then my view might change. But am I wrong in saying that I haven't seen anything from Mendoza for me to say that just because he's the best quarterback in the draft doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best quarterback to take? I'm not a big believer in Mendoza yet. If the Browns, if the Browns, their offensive line needs a lot of work. They need pass catchers. They have too many other needs to take another swing at a quarterback. You took 2 stupid swings on quarterbacks in this past draft, reaching on quarterbacks. Now you're going to reach on another one next year. Again, just because Mendoza is the best quarterback in the draft, it doesn't mean that he's the best quarterback. It doesn't mean that he's the best quarterback. It doesn't mean that you take a quarterback as far as that goes. But again, my mind can change over the next couple of weeks. If Mendoza balls out and he rises to the occasion with the lights being as bright as they are, if he balls out against Alabama and then does again to Oregon's defense, assuming Oregon wins, Texas Tech's a good defense as well. If he plays at a high level against one of those two defenses in the semifinal and then gets another crack at Ohio State's defense, like he's going up against the best defenses in the college football playoff. And if he balls out against those defenses, then maybe I'll change my stance on that. But then that requires the Browns giving up draft pieces to acquire him. And I just don't know how I feel about that, because you would have to move up to number 1 either way. So, and yeah, like, and Kirk says Mendoza to the Raiders. I'm calling it now. Yeah. Like I just, Oakland, I always call them Oakland. I'm sorry. But the Raiders, they desperately need a quarterback. I think they're more desperate. They're in a more desperate situation at quarterback, need for quarterback than the Browns are. The Giants will have the number 1 overall pick. They have their quarterback in Jackson Dart. The guy's kind of a knucklehead, but they have their quarterback there. And then the Raiders and Cardinals, the Cardinals have their quarterback. At least they have a quarterback. I don't know if they have the quarterback, but Cleveland's they're sitting at that 4 spot right now. I don't see Mendoza dropping past the Raiders at number 2. And for the Browns to get him, they'd have to trade up to number 2. And I don't see that making a whole lot of sense if you're Cleveland, wasting more draft picks on those. So who knows? Nonetheless, now, Kirk, you bring up a good point. Game of the week, Raiders, Giants battle for the number 1 2026 draft. Yeah, that could play a role in that too. But I think Cleveland beats Cincinnati in 2 weeks. So I think that's going to move them out of the top 5 anyway. So just get Carnell Tate and call it a day. But 937-518-1410. It's 4:46. It's the final show, my final show of not of the year, but before Christmas. I'm off the rest of the week. I will return next Monday, but I was going to take today off, but I took I don't like going that long between shows. I know you guys probably appreciate not hearing my voice, but I do enjoy doing the show and talking with you guys every day. So I just wanted to at least get on the air at least once here this week, heading into the holidays, of course. But 937-518-1410. Michigan fan Shaw has been waiting patiently. Michigan fan Shaw, welcome, sir.
How you doing, man?
Another day in paradise. Happy Monday. Happy holidays.
Happy Merry Christmas to you, and happy holidays and all of that, and hope you have a great Christmas coming up. I heard your little parody / Christmas jingle, if you will. Well done. I'll give you 2 claps for that.
I can't hear you over all the other claps that I'm getting for it. I'm just saying.
I know, a golf clap, if you will. I'll give you a golf clap.
Yeah.
No, I know I don't know. Do you want me to go into the debaclement that is Ann Arbor, or do you want me to just talk more college football?
No, I'm very. Are they going to end up with Biff as their head coach, or whatever the hell his name is? Is this going to be? There's a lot of stuff being put out there. Is this going to be a 1-year try? I mean, you might as well just, like, as dumb as it sounds, it might be the best route to go versus forcing someone else in that spot and make sure you get the actual coach that you want. How's that going to unfold for Michigan as they still look for their head coach?
Well, I agree with you. You took the little bit of the thunder later on. I think it's a 3-pronged problem right now inside Ann Arbor, inside the football program, and inside the athletic department. Number 1, they don't have a president for the university. Number 2, there is no true active AD. Yes, there's an AD in name, but that's all he is. And the reason for that is the reason number 3, because there's an active investigation going on for the entire athletic department. So he's not an active AD, because when this investigation is over, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, he will be giving the axe. So why is he doing his job? Exactly. He's not. So who's doing the hiring right now? So that's all put into a nice, wonderful cake if you're a Michigan fan, and it doesn't taste very good right now. So in my opinion, yes, the only answer to fix this before January 2nd is to just name Biff Poggi the head coach. If it's 1 year, if it works this next year, then okay, yeah, make it longer, extend him, do whatever you got to do. He's been around the program for a while. He's been around football for a while. He's even coached with Nick Saban, so he knows football. It's just he's not a name that everybody's aware of. He's not a name that everybody knows. He's a little weird. He's a little quirky, kind of fits with Michigan. and everything that went with Harbaugh and all of that. Don't think he'll be swinging from trees and jumping into and dance around with kickers and all of that, but he's weird in his own right. But no, it's a debaclement. I think Kyle Whittingham would have made sense if it probably would have been about a week earlier. But I don't know if it does make sense with it being this close to January 2nd. As soon as DeBoer won, I don't really, honestly, being honest with you, I don't really even know how realistic that was to begin with. But as soon as they won Friday night, and if you believe the rumors that are out there from Dillingham, he was never even offered the job. And that's kind of where my whole thought process started, and that's where it began of, well, how would he be offered the job when there's nobody there to offer him the job? No president, no AD. And then you get into the bigger issue. Why would you even take the job? I don't care. Jed Fish, Caleb DeBoer, Whip Dillingham, Jeff Brom, all the other names that have been thrown out there. Why would you leave your current position that you're at right now to go take whatever the head football coaching job is at the University of Michigan, whatever that entails? So that's my brief synopsis of what I think's going on up there.
Now, and it's like there are big names out there that obviously I think would win a press conference over Biff. It doesn't mean that they would be better fit than Biff for the circumstances of the time being. I don't think I think it would be wrong to build Biff up as if he's like the guy that they want long term. If they were on, this kind of reminds me of the Fickle situation at Ohio State in the early 2010s. Fickle, though, it's not like they didn't want Fickle, but they kind of threw him a crap sandwich and said, go make something of it. Yep. And if you do, this could work out well for you, right? And Ryan Day was given I will never say it's a similar situation, but you're taking over for a legend. Biff is taking over for a legendary mess right now. So it's not the same, but it's like he'll have an opportunity. I just don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to end with him being the long-term solution. I think if you're Michigan, I think you just need to keep the status quo with them for 1 year. It's going to be bad next year no matter what. At least you could open up the hiring pool if you go into next year. And that I think just trying to fit one of these names right now, just to, square peg round hole hire. I mean, I think it would make more sense to just go in next year with something, count it as a lost year. It's unfortunate for them, but I think the hiring pool, it spans wider next year if you go into next year and kind of let it play out a little bit. So, but no, there's Brian Kelly out there. There's Chip Kelly out there. There's go Wolverines. So who knows?
None of those three do anything for me. And to further
Biff does. But Biff does. I think he just doesn't aesthetically. He doesn't aesthetically win you the press conference, but who knows?
No, Biff. It's going on what your point is. It's moving everything forward because someone's got to be in place for January 2nd. And the players leaving isn't even part of the consideration. If Bryce leaves, we lose 9 touchdowns. Not a big deal. And all the other players that they leave, that if they leave, okay, they were going to leave whether the new big name got hired or not. It's irrelevant at this point. You got to name somebody to save face right now because someone's got to be the head coach moving forward. When you brought up Luke Fickell, that's exactly my point, and that's where it all came from. You throw that all together. That's how I came up with this. It's exactly correct. Yes, different circumstances, but Luke Fickell was given a crap sandwich. Said, "Here, do what you can do with it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, then we'll go into the pool next year and we'll make a better choice with what we have available. Plus, on top of that, I would assume a year from now that the president of the university would be hired. I would assume there would be a new AD. And so the whole situation is completely different. You can go hire whatever name you want with that new AD. You can bring the whole thing in and hopefully move forward and put all this, whatever this is, in the rear view mirror. We move forward and we go back in here probably 2 years from now with the transfer portal, and we get back to beating Ohio State's rear end and all those right in the world. So so we'll be all right. I mean, it'll be all right. It's just going to look ugly for probably the next 365 days. So that's where it is.
Yeah, it'll all be rainbows and sunshine here shortly. I'm sure.
Well, I mean, it won't. I mean, we won't be winning national championships and we won't be hanging banners for a while, but I mean, it is what it is. Like,
Last thing on the way out. BYU is probably moving up my list as least favorite programs. When are these programs going to learn to stop bailing out the Crying Irish? When are we going to, why is this happening? So, came out earlier today, USC and Notre Dame, first time outside. I mean, they didn't play in 20, obviously, but, outside of that, for 70 plus years, they have faced each other. And they couldn't. USC, Notre Dame will not face each other in 26, and they're hoping, fingers crossed, to get that home and home back up and rolling by 2030. So, with that being said, Notre Dame, that article came out earlier today, and within hours, BYU has come in to save the day for Notre Dame once again. I hate Notre Dame. I don't use the word hate often. I hate Notre Dame. I hate that whole program. I think they're the biggest bunch of frauds in the world, and they keep getting bailed out by a bunch of stupid people. BYU is a stupid program, just like the ACC was a stupid conference for bailing them out in 2020. So BYU, who was a part of Notre Dame, with Notre Dame as the two top at-large teams that were left out of this year's college football playoff, they've agreed to a home-and-home series beginning next season. All right, so that's good. Again, that's all part of the halt in Notre Dame and USC's rivalry for the foreseeable future. There had been reports that had come out that teams are going to start to blackball Notre Dame and not schedule them because of the way that they handled themselves like a bunch of Joe Burrow crybabies, when they didn't get put in the playoff. But BYU, you idiots, like you literally were supposed to play them in the bowl game this year. And Notre Dame said no. They left you stranded and they left you hanging. And now you're going to bail them out and give them a big opponent for the next 2 years. I hate BYU. I hate how much Notre Dame gets bailed out. I think this is a stupid decision by BYU. I'm glad they missed the playoff. I'm glad Notre Dame missed the playoff. I'll be rooting against both of these schools every week next week when the season starts.
I'm right there with you. I mean, it's disgusting to me, but it's just another case of where the almighty dollar, just rules the day. And why did Kansas City decide to move to and change an old franchise, one of the original franchises in the NFL? The almighty dollar. And so that's all that matters with any of this right now. And then eventually this money keg is going to explode, and then we'll be there to pick up the pieces. But I can't stand what BYU did. I can't stand anything Notre Dame does. I didn't understand in 2020 why the ACC bailed them out. I don't understand why anybody bails them out, other than the fact that when you have this type of question, you have to sit there and ask yourself why, and the answer always will be money. And it's not the right answer. It's not an answer I agree with. It's obviously not an answer you agree with. But at the end of the day, that they know that Notre Dame will show up to their stadium and they'll get all kinds of money, and they'll get the money when they go to South Bend and all this other yada, yada, yada. And if it was up to me and you, and if actual people of the know and of the powers that be, and if you and me were in the charge of it, then yeah, Notre Dame would have to join a conference, and they'd actually have to man up and actually do something right now. But at the end of the day, it's not going to change. It's not going to matter. So I'm right there with you. We'll just sit there and we'll root against them, and we'll be the two, or maybe we'll be the silent majority rooting against them. So hopefully one day college football wakes up, but I'm not going to hold my breath waiting on it.
Oh, Shaw, before you go, 'twas the night before Christmas. The phone lines did ring, and here comes Shaw yelling the same old thing. Defending Michigan, cheating and all, loud as hell on the Justin Kinner Show call. He rants and raves, says they did nothing wrong, while everyone groans, man, this guy, he takes so long. Stallion suspensions, he waves it away, then shouts over facts like it's part of his play. Yeah, I just thought I would, share that one with you, send you out with a poem for Christmas.
Did ChatGPT just give you that?
Oh, that's all up in Kinner's brain, baby. It's all up here. And I'm going to hang up on you. Merry Christmas. I am not letting you say those two annoying words that you end every call with. So there you go, Shaw. Shaw, have a Merry Christmas. I hope all of you have a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I hope everyone has a great week. Spend time with friends, spend time with family, and let's talk some college football playoffs, Ohio State football. Maybe the Reds might do something. Doubt it, but there's always plenty going on, plenty to talk about. I'm looking forward to it. Coming up later on tonight, by the way, Wright State. We are Dayton's radio home for Wright State basketball, and Wright State will be in action coming up as they welcome in Eastern Michigan. Later on tonight, 7 o'clock, the tip-off. It's Wright State's final non-conference showdown before they turn their attention to all-league play. That's pretty much the case right now. Dayton wrapped up their non-conference with the loss against Liberty. Their home win streak in the non-con completely snapped. I don't know how you just physically dominate a team like Florida State and then lose to a team like Liberty. And I get it. Liberty's been, an NCAA tournament appearing team, in recent years. It doesn't matter. You're supposed to be the big bad Dayton Flyers, right? You don't lose to Liberty at home, but you lost, and now you don't play again for quite some time until the end of the month, of course. So it's all A-10 play from there. It's all Horizon League play for the Raiders after they wrap up with Eastern Michigan coming up later on tonight. So there you go. 7 o'clock, the tip-off, 6:45 pregame coverage begins right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. That wraps it up. Until next Monday, this has been the Justin Kinner Show, presented by our friends over at Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. Until next time, have a Merry Christmas, everybody.